Adriana, we have some snow coming to the Calgary area. It's actually pretty mild here, but quite serious when you get into the far southeastern corner of Alberta.
That's right. It's a prolonged period of snowfall for that corner. For us here in Calgary, along that Highway 2, it's expected to diminish overnight into tomorrow. And as temperatures remain mild, very close to that freezing mark, things start to melt upon impact. So we're not watching for much accumulation, though Cypress Hill, a completely different story. So here's what's been happening this afternoon. You can see most of it is falling as rain. There's that risk of freezing rain, especially along the Trans-Canada Highway from Calgary towards Medicine Hat. But the snowfall warning is in Cypress Hill and further east into Saskatchewan. There's a weather statement around that area where totals could reach up to 50 centimeters in localized areas. So that's something we'll be watching very closely. But with the milder temperatures, things are not expected to accumulate by much. So here's a look at our current temperatures brought to you by Big Four Motors, Calgary's original Jeep store and more in Tazaw Park, currently sitting at 2 degrees, 3 degrees downtown.
Timing really is everything, and I'm wondering about the timing of when to wash the car.
Oh, yeah.
And it may not be the best time this weekend either. No,
especially into early next week. Those temperatures continue to rise. So that warm stretch is with us for a little while as the melting continues. Now, of course, here in Calgary, the wind speeds have started to die down as well. Here's a look outside at our Skywatch weather camera. Some partial cloud cover, watching for a chance of some precipitation this evening, and that starts to taper off later on by midday tomorrow. However, continuing for southern and eastern parts of our province into the weekend. So that may bring some significant snowfall for that southeastern corner. Right now in Calgary, it's cloudy, 3 degrees. That wind speed has calmed down. We saw peak gust at COP earlier today, 65 kilometers an hour. Watches and warnings, though, that white box there, snowfall warning for Cypress Hill that moves into southwestern parts of Saskatchewan as well. Close to 25 to 30 centimeters of snowfall. And in the dark gray, that's a weather statement warning of possible localized enhanced snowfall up to 50 centimeters in those areas. And that's because the system continues to linger in those areas through the weekend. This is what's been happening for the last couple of hours. Mostly the chance of rain, freezing rain, especially along the Trans-Canada Highway from Calgary to Medicine Hat. Temperatures right now, +2 in Medicine Hat, 2 degrees in Brooks, 2 in Drumheller, 3 in Calgary, -2 in Banff, and +1 in Pincher Creek. Now, those wind speeds have died down right now, gusting to 41 kilometers an hour in Pincher Creek, gusts of 52 in Lethbridge. Milk River seeing a gust of 46 kilometers an hour, and things are still calm for us in Calgary. But this is what's happening over the next several days. So that system pushes into the U.S. later on tonight, and that tapers off as we get into Saturday. However, another system that continues along eastern sections, that means areas around Edmonton, Red Deer into Coronation and down south to that Cypress Hill corner, really could continue to see that chance of snow flurries. But ground temperatures are still warm, so that's not going to support much accumulation. So those snowfall totals, that's what we'll see fall, but those accumulation amounts may be much less than that. It's not until Sunday afternoon that southern parts of the province will see that snow finally taper off. So here's a brief look at that snowfall forecast by Sunday afternoon. It's that southern corner, Milk River towards Cypress Hill, that could see the greatest totals. Now, our regional forecast for the weekend, things are cooling down towards the mountains, but still remaining fairly dry. Drumheller, 0 degrees on Sunday with an overnight low of -12, and Pincher Creek seeing those daytime highs very close to that freezing mark as we continue through the weekend. Here in Calgary, 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, a high of 3 degrees, Sunday 1, but things are warming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. However, beyond that, things cool down, and we'll have a closer look at that 7-day forecast for you later on in the show.
When you think of the weather we could be getting in mid-January, we're pretty fortunate this weekend.
Very blessed, in fact. Those daytime highs staying above seasonal, above 0 for us here in Calgary, or at least close to that freezing mark. Now, it's further east towards Medicine Hat, Cypress Hills that will continue to see some of that snowfall. For Calgary this evening into tomorrow afternoon, there's a chance of snow mixed with rain, melting upon impact, risk of freezing rain, but snowfalls totals that could reach up to 35 centimeters in that southeastern corner of Alberta. Meanwhile, for us, Early next week, those temperatures rise up to 6 degrees by Wednesday, but just behind that, there's a big cool down on the way, significant cool down, in fact, so we'll enjoy the warmer weather while it lasts.
We sure will. Thanks, Adriana.
Well, you may have noticed a lot of melting today. Adriana's in now. It almost felt like spring out there.
Yeah, and it will continue to feel like spring well into early next week as well, as the temperatures really stay on the warmer side. However, we are watching for this system that is expected to bring significant snowfall for the southeastern corner. So areas like Calgary towards Lethbridge, we won't be watching for too much of that. In fact, if we do see any snow, it's likely to melt upon impact. However, the system, as it makes its way further south, is transitioning into snow overnight as temperatures drop. That snowfall warning could get up to 35 centimeters of snow for Cypress Hill. Medicine Hat watching out for enhanced localized snow as well. We'll have a closer look at those details and your 5-day forecast later on in the show.
Let's bring Adriana back in now as we look ahead to our weekend forecast.
Things stay warm, Tara, through the weekend for much of Alberta. However, as we're watching the system making its way across the eastern parts of the province, there is a snowfall warning in place around Cypress Hill and into Saskatchewan. That gray area, weather statement, localized possible enhanced snowfall that could reach close to 50 centimeters of snow. Now, these are totals. Accumulation could be lesser than that, as we are still seeing some warmer ground conditions and temperatures. Now, the system is bringing in some mixing for Lethbridge right now, some rainfall for Medicine Hat, and that slowly transitions into snow as we continue to see that temperature drop overnight. Right now, it's 2 degrees in Calgary, +1 in Drumheller, 2 in Brooks, and 2 in Medicine Hat, 0 degrees for Lethbridge, Pincher Creek, 3 in Milk River, and -2 in both Banff and on the other side of that boundary, Cranbrook. Now, Calgary, though, thanks to the strong winds that we saw, close to 58 kilometers an hour, that pushed our daytime temperature to a high of 10 degrees. We reached double digits. And morning temperature started off at -2, and our average high for this time of year, much below that. -3 is at average high, and -14 is the average low. Now, the futurecast showing this prolonged period of snowfall along eastern parts of the province, and it's going to focus in that southeastern corner through Saturday and once again into Sunday. This finally starts to taper off, getting into Sunday afternoon and evening hours before things start to calm down and warm up once again across Alberta. But it's also the winds that we'll be watching for along with the system in that southwestern corner. It's Highway 41 that could be pretty dicey with the road conditions and poor visibility. So we'll be watching the system fairly closely, but our regional forecast, things stay close to that freezing mark around the region. Red Deer, 2 degrees is the daytime high tomorrow, -1 for Sunday. Cooler for the mountains, Lake Louisa high of -4, getting down to -6 by Sunday. And for Brooks, 3 degrees tomorrow, -1 on Sunday, and some strong winds expected for Pincher Creek as we get into early next week. Now, our 5-day forecast for Calgary, that chance of rain or snow tapers off by midday tomorrow early afternoon with a high of 3 degrees. We stay above freezing into the weekend, but by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the temperatures continue to rise, but there is a big cool down on the way, so we'll have a closer look at that 7-day later on. Here's a look outside at our Skywatch weather camera here in Calgary. Those wind speeds have died down, becoming light this evening. We are watching for a chance of some flurries mixed with rain. That tapers off tomorrow afternoon, so things remain mostly dry for Calgary. However, it is that southeastern corner that is watching for significant snowfall, especially around the Cypress Hills area. So road conditions along Highway 41 could be dicey. Weather statement in the dark gray, localized possible enhanced snowfall up to 50 centimeters. So this is something that we'll be watching for through the weekend. However, as we take a look at what's happening right now, it's just some light rain that's transitioning into snow along Lethbridge towards Medicine Hat, and that continues into the overnight hours. However, with ground conditions fairly warm, not supporting much accumulation before things start to taper off. 2 degrees in Calgary right now. It's +1 in Drumheller, 2 degrees for Brooks and Medicine Hat, 3 degrees in Milk River. Further north, also staying warm. Whitecourt currently sitting at 4 degrees, 3 in Edmonton, 2 degrees in Red Deer, and -7 in High Level and Fort McMurray. So our futurecast watching this system right here that continues to push off into the U.S. by the overnight hours. However, it's a prolonged period towards the eastern section of our province throughout Saturday, and then finally tapering off on into Sunday afternoon and evening. Now, our upper air pattern, while we are influenced a little bit cooler right now into Saturday, another ridge coming in early next week. That's gets, bringing in even warmer temperatures. But it is short-lived. We are watching for a big cool down as we get into the later half of next week. Tomorrow, 3 degrees in Edmonton, 2 in Red Deer, 3 degrees for Calgary, +2 in Drumheller, and 3 degrees in High River.
Starting to heat up with the stamps.
Might as well start getting excited in January.
Yeah,
something to look forward
I like
to.
the moves. I think it's good. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you, Glenn. So our weekend ahead is looking pretty good. Maybe a little snow tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Temperatures are still on the warmer than seasonal side, so we'll enjoy that at least. Winds may become gustier coming in from the north, so bringing in a little bit of a dip into our Saturday. Here's a look right now at our weather window. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows Indoors, crafting quality windows indoors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. This photo sent in by Graham from earlier today at the North Glenmore Park Coyote. He says this is a regular guy hanging out with a pack of 4. Now our 5-day forecast, things look even warmer early next week. So beyond the weekend, getting up to temperatures closer to the mid-single digits by Wednesday. However, big significant cool down follows suit after that. So we'll have to enjoy this warm weather while it lasts. Daytime highs getting back into the minus double digits the following weekend.
Good stuff. Thanks, Adriana. And thank you for your company tonight. Have a terrific weekend.